Bodhisattvas fly into our retreat from all over, different individuals leading us through earth, through water, fire, air, space, consciousness. And in these few days now, we're just trying to bring them all together into a kind of harmonious whole, which you could call life. The 6 elements is the ingredients in the kind of Buddhist system, if you like, of life. And we are leading through, in the mornings, this classic Buddhist meditation practice, the 6 element practice. So I'll do that after the morning puja. And I've been leading it in a fairly straightforward manner, just visualizing the elements, but not in a sense of fantasizing about them, more in a sense of picturing what is really going on. There really is solid earth within us, solid earth without us, and a dance, a flow, an exchange between the two, and so on. And so let's begin with the morning puja, as we have done pretty much every day this month. I'll do it in call and response, so please join in if you wish after me. And then we will meditate together. Morning puja, the 4 reminders. This human birth is precious. An opportunity to awaken. But this body is impermanent. Ready or not, one day I shall die. So this life I must know, as the tiny splash of a raindrop, a thing of beauty that disappears, even as it comes into being. The karma I create shapes the course of my life. But however I act, life always has difficulties. No one can control it all. Only the Dharma can free me and others from suffering forever. Therefore, I recall my heart's longing for freedom and resolve to make use of every day and night to realize it. And the 4 Brahmaviharas. May all beings enjoy happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they not be separated from the great happiness, devoid of suffering. May they dwell in the great equanimity, free from craving, aversion, and delusion. So just preparing ourselves to meditate, making sure we're comfortable, making sure we're supported by the earth element beneath us, making sure we'll be warm enough, the fire element won't escape, too quick. And just getting a sense of ourselves as a whole, sitting here, preparing. So first of all, looking just for a broad, inclusive, warm awareness of ourselves. Here we are. Physically, our bodies, emotionally, our moods, our feelings, and mentally, our mind. It's all arrived at this place, at this time, to meditate. So welcoming it all, this just makes our starting point, for better or worse. Doesn't really matter how we start. The point is we've turned up and we're ready to go. And Buddhism says all things are impermanent. So even if we are grumpy and stiff and sore and busy, it can change. So broad, kindly awareness of ourselves as we begin. And then taking our attention to our earth element, our feeling of solidity, our body, if you like, our form, our substance, feeling our weight dropping down through our spine, our skeleton, supported by the earth beneath us. And just a sense of letting go, being supported, allowing ourselves to be supported. The earth is not going to evaporate underneath us. So a sense of awareness, but also appreciation for our earth element, our solid bodies, our substance. And an appreciation for the earth element supporting us, around us, stretching away in all directions, in front of us, behind us, left, right, beneath us. The earth just goes on and on. It supports us, it supports everything. And then turning our minds, or visualizing, if you like, the flow, the exchange of the earth element from inside us to outside of us, outside to inside. Recollecting the way we take in earth through eating, any other ways you could think of, and the way we let go of earth. And this exchange, this flow, this dance has gone on ever since we first opened our mouths to feed. It will go on until we die. And then when we began, I was asking the question, out of all this earth element, is there any of it we can unambiguously lay claim to? Just say, this is my bit of earth. At least this bit here is mine. Can we identify any earth element within us or without us, which is mine? Guaranteed. And Buddhism says you can't. We can make use of it, but we cannot keep hold of it. And even when it's inside of us and it makes our body, we can't control it. It misbehaves. We get sick. But Buddhism also says that's okay. Doesn't seem to matter because we can function perfectly well despite not owning or controlling any of it. So the earth element. And today, maybe especially reflecting that our earth element is shared. We can make use of it. It becomes part of us for a time, but then goes back into the world, into the earth, and others make use of it. And even as bits we eat become part of us, they used to be part of someone else, something else. So we're participating in this huge resource, the earth element. And all beings, the entire planet, shares it. So, if you like, getting a sense of ourselves, meditating, but all the rest of us meditating, dotted about the world. And not only us, many, many, many other beings, awake, asleep, Buddhist, non-Buddhist, old, young, whatever, all of them participating in this earth element. And maybe out of that, a sense, a desire, a natural wish to look after things, to treat things well, to treat the earth element well. That when we let go of bits of earth, they're in good condition. We haven't polluted them. They're ready, if you like, for others to make use of, even if it's only the worms in the compost heap. So a kind of sense of interconnectedness, being part of a web of life. Gratitude for what we are receiving, care for what we are letting go of. And turning our minds to the water element in our bodies, the sense of moisture, fluidity, flexibility, flow, our blood, saliva, sweat, all kinds of fluids crucial to our well-being. Our bodies may feel solid, but they're something like 80% water, I believe. And just feeling the water element within us. More metaphorically, there's our emotions, our kind of feeling body, which sits alongside our more solid, earthly body. So aware of the water within, with appreciation, gratitude. And all around us, water. Clouds, rain, puddles, streams, lakes, rivers, oceans, just the water in the taps. Water is so common and so precious. And in the same way, just being aware of the flow of water from outside to inside, inside to outside. It's been going on our entire lives. It will continue to go on our entire lives. And reflecting, can you lay claim to any of it? Yes or no? And reflecting, if you can't, does it matter? And just imaginatively following the journey of the water as it leaves you, where it might go next. I mean, probably down the toilet, but just out, across the world, back into the web of life. And again, all beings participate in this enormous shared resource, the water element. So again, looking for a sense of gratitude for what we receive and care for what we give back. There's some very beautiful little teachings in the Vinaya from the Buddha's time, the rules for the monks and nuns, about specifically what to do with wastewater, where you should tip away your wastewater. You don't tip it where there's insects. You don't tip it straight into the stream. You just take care that your wastewater won't harm other beings. So moving on again, kind of expanding our awareness to a different aspect of our experience, the fire element, the warmth of our bodies, perhaps our clothes, keeping in the warmth, any feelings of pleasure or discomfort if you're a bit too hot, a bit too cold. Just recognizing our dependence on the fire element. And how quickly we feel comfort or discomfort if there's not the right amount of it. So the fire element within us, kind of literally, our body's warmth, more metaphorically, our kind of spirit, our vitality. Recognizing, if you like, the transformative aspect of fire. It changes whatever it touches. It's not quite the same again. And that can be for better or for worse. Taking our minds to the fire element in the world around. Ultimately, there's the sun, but all sorts of sources of fire around us. And that flow from inside to outside, outside to inside. Sometimes we give warmth, sometimes we receive it. More metaphorically, sometimes your emotions might be warm or cold. We talk about a warm smile, a cold stare, and so on. So we communicate warmth, both literally and more metaphorically. And this has been going on like the other elements our whole lives. And it will continue to go on. In a way, our actions have consequences. They always have, they always will. But moving on yet again, the air element. We breathe in, we breathe out. We breathe in, we breathe out. The exchange of air with the world is very obvious. We can't stop it, and we wouldn't want to. And the boundary of inside and outside us is maybe more thin with the air element. It really does flow across this arbitrary boundary very continuously. 1 minute it's inside us, 1 minute it's outside us. The air element just flows in and out. Again, we can ask, can I really hold on to any of this air? Is any of it unambiguously mine? And if the answer is no, you can ask, does that really matter? Luckily for us, there's always air available. And the question I was asking yesterday is, where do I begin and end? Is the air in my lungs really part of me? When I breathe out, does it instantly cease to become me, to be me? Can I draw this precise line around me and say that's where I begin and that's where I end? Or is it a bit fuzzier, a bit more mysterious? And if it is fuzzier, does that matter? Do I need to be precisely defined in a specific shape? So just for a few minutes, enjoying this, our breath, enjoying our breath. Enjoying the flow in and out. Exchanging inside and outside, me and not me. And if you like, turning your mind again to the fact, the reality, that we share the air with all other beings. We breathe in, they breathe out. They breathe out, we breathe in. Not only humans, but animals, not only animals, but plants, trees. We all participate in the element air as well as the others. But moving on again to the space element. In a way, space is mysterious. In a way, it's very obvious. We take up a certain amount of space. We are a certain shape for practical purposes. And for a brief period, it's ours. We are sitting in this spot. But if we move, the space is immediately vacated. And another bit of space is taken up. As we go downstairs, we're just across the room. And the space we vacate becomes available. You can't leave a little note saying reserved. That's my space. But space out of all the elements kind of goes on and on. If you step outside, look up at the sky, you're looking into a huge expanse of space. If it wasn't for gravity, we'd have an extraordinary choice of which bit of space to occupy. As it is, we're a bit more stuck on the surface of the planet. But still. So again, we participate in space. Is temporarily ours, but shared with all beings. Maybe casting your mind back through time, just thinking how many beings might have literally occupied the space you are now occupying. Even back to when the dinosaurs roamed the earth. Maybe they walked right through your living room. I'm up in the attic of our house. So one time birds flew through my space. Probably. And even if we call it my space, it's not really, because we're on a planet whizzing around the sun, hundreds of miles an hour. So the space I was in a minute ago is miles away. We only think it's the same because of relativity. Or something like that. But again, we can ask, does it matter? Here I am, even if I can't reserve any particular piece of space. And taking our mind to the last of the 6 elements, the most mysterious is consciousness. So even though the elements are flowing and cannot be stopped, cannot be controlled, maybe even don't really belong to us. Nevertheless, something is going on. There's some principle or pattern or organization which gives some identity to a small collection of earth, water, fire, and air, and allows us to be us for all practical purposes. Here we are. We can wake up in the morning and be pretty confident life goes on, much the same as yesterday. So something is holding it all together, giving it life, if you like, or identity, or reasonable continuity. So let's call it consciousness. And we receive sense impressions, and we can call it sense consciousness. Sights and sounds, smells, touches, all the time. We can have reactions, pleasure and pain, comfort, discomfort, liking and not liking. Call them feelings. We can have opinions, whole philosophies, call them views. It's all contained in consciousness. But a bit like the other elements, it too flows. Our perceptions are always changing. Our emotions are always changing. Even our thoughts, even our opinions change. They come into us and they go out of us. Reading the newspaper, you get all sorts of opinions. Talking to others, you share them. In what sense they are your opinions, you can reflect. Buddhism values mindfulness, which is just an attempt to be aware kind of accurately of the simple facts of the matter. What are you really experiencing? What are you really feeling? What are you really thinking? And that's good. So our consciousness can be trained, even purified. So when we share our consciousness with others, by talking or acting, it's more beneficial. So for the last few minutes of the meditation, just playing with all the stages in our own way, either going back to the four more physical elements or staying with space and consciousness, just feeling our way into their existence and their flow, inside and outside. And in a few minutes, we'll bring the meditation to a close. looking for a sense, looking for a sense of enjoyment, kind of relaxation, gratitude in being able to participate in life in this way. Gratitude that the elements are there when we need them to support us in different ways. Maybe looking also for a sense of a wish to give them back in good condition for the benefit of others. And I think there is one thing about consciousness which is special, which is it can give birth to something new. So with the other elements, we do not create them. We just make use of earth, water, fire, and air, space. They come into us, they go out of us. But we cannot create earth, water, fire, and air. But consciousness, in a sense, we can. We have our own will, our intentions, and we can give birth to fresh intentions, how to act. So maybe looking in your heart, in your mind, is there some intention coming forward of how you wish to act? As we kind of move out of the meditation into our day and participate a bit more actively in this kind of dance of the elements. What are your own intentions? And very gradually, no hurry, in our own time, coming out of the practice, bringing ourselves back to our immediate physical experience. And then when you're ready, opening our eyes, taking in sights and sounds around us, having a stretch, and we will finish.